as soon as it's done and ready, like it's done, but there's still security reviews. There's even like gas optimizations being put into there. Like still, like we're neurotic about it. Um, so you have this interesting problem where you want to release something right away. Like you want to release Genius right away because it's sorely needed, especially in this bull market, especially in this bear market, especially in this like terrible economic time. Yet Genius's economic time is looking amazing. It is amazing. Just look at the chart. So when something is very sorely needed, the idea is get it out there immediately. Don't wait. Yeah, don't wait. Be first to market. But you can't do that if there is potentially a security issue. You can't do that without doing proper due diligence. So therefore, the third-party security auditors that Genius is working with is CertiK. Multiple times we had worked with CoinFabric because CoinFabric has a waiting list, right, for people to get into it, and we had gotten chosen twice on that waiting list. So that's a little bit of review there. But we had the independent security auditor, who there are issues. There are issues being resolved, and they'll probably get resolved before CertiK gets into it. But then you have Genius has CertiK as a third party looking at the security, and so now the thing is, though, when September 9th comes, let's say, even though CertiK started late last week, and CertiK is aware of our current security issues from our independent security auditor and from CoinFabric. CoinFabric, was that their name? I don't even remember. Too much stuff going on. I don't even know what. The only reason why I know what today is because it's a big deal. But so let's say September 9th comes and CertiK's sitting there and they're like, oh, hey. CertiK felt very certain that it wouldn't take them more than 2 weeks to look at this, right? And I'm in constant contact with our representative at CertiK for any findings. And also, there's a mutual understanding of communication. CertiK understands. Much about Genius and our goals and the work that we've already done. So when it comes to, so CertiK's quote was, we feel very strongly that this will take us no more than 2 weeks, which is a small amount of time considering typical security audits, but also CertiK seems pretty impressive, a lot more impressive than I imagined, because when it comes to security audits, a lot of times there's just so much. There's so much I want to tell you all, but it's a lot of information. I just want to tell you the things that do matter here. So when it comes to the launch, hey, if there's going to be a delay, like, we'll let you know as soon as possible. If there's going to be a delay, it's probably going to be just one delay, just like today with the storm. So on time and scheduled, I'd say yes. I said before that I've been going through hell. A lot of it has been that too. A lot of that has been like, oh crap, we really got to solve these things over the next couple of weeks in order to get to this next milestone. So, and by the way, the beta, thank you all again. I know the beta concerns some people, but thank you. Whatever crazy stuff we do with the beta, please don't worry. It has helped us a lot with getting ahead. All right, so cover the similarities and differences between Genius and Hex. Okay, there's a lot of differences, so I can't reasonably cover all the differences. Hex Factor did make a great video on it. Okay, so similarities. I'll tell you about the similarities because there aren't a whole lot of similarities with Genius and Hex. Let me tell you about the similarities between Genius and Bitcoin, because Hex and Bitcoin are very similar also. Well, the similarity is that how Genius is similar to Hex and Bitcoin is that with Bitcoin, there was a reward pool, an amount of rewards being given to miners every day. And what did the miners do? The miners basically ran all of Bitcoin's tokenomics and handled all the transactions. So with Genius, there are rewards every day, and there are multiple ways to do rewards. But instead of like mining for Bitcoin, which mining for Bitcoin is actually really lame, you're not doing anything useful. The mining you're doing for Genius is extremely useful. You don't have to mine Genius to get rewards, by the way. You can just call certain functions that cost you gas, but you get Genius in return. And these functions are helping the tokenomics of Genius. Sort of like with Bitcoin, there was a lot of work that needed to be done. So Hex, yeah, similar, except for Hex, you don't get rewards for calling functions. You only get rewards from staking on Hex. All right. So I think that's the gist of the similarities. The other similarities between Genius and Hex is that they're both on Ethereum. They will both be on Pulse Chain. So Hex was very novel in the way that it had a cool way of, like in Bitcoin with mining, the more computers you have, or the more ASICs now, the more machines you have, the more share you get of that reward pool. The more shares you have of the income of the company that is Bitcoin. And what was novel about Hex was being able to get a share of that reward pool to have a stronger weight, to have a stronger impact, to get more shares from dedicating more time. Now this was an innovation as far as smart contracts go, but in the real world, this wasn't an innovation. Richard Hart says this himself too, that they copied the CD model. Now, in the past, I'd had multiple talks with Richard Hart on, on like the banking world, and I was running a savings company, and I was talking with Richard Hart long ago about the savings company, and he saw it like a competitor, and I was just kind of like, I had to wipe that from his mind and say, well, this is really a great opportunity to work together. So the savings company I ran was a prototype, and and it was a very successful prototype. I learned a ton about the mindset of people that are saving in retirement and they're saving for goals in their life. I learned a lot, and I really loved it. And a lot of that experience is definitely happening here through Genius. But so the thing that was novel about Hex was just the math of how it weighted your time. Now with Genius, there's a similarity there. Genius uses time as one of the factors of your attention. So Genius is monetizing your attention. This is where something novel is. And time is a factor that has to do with that. There's a lot of things you can attend to in a certain block of time, but that's philosophy and stuff. Now, as far as differences, there's a lot. I'll be the one to say it. Genius is the superior product to Hex. Hex flexes I've done in the past, where I'd have like, $25,000 necklaces, stuff like that to flex, or my Ferrari. That's like, cool and all. But what I'm getting at though is the biggest Hex flex that I'm ever going to do is making sure that Genius is launched. What